It's time to talk NASCAR again on Prime Sports NASCAR as we preview the race from Richmond, the Toyota Owners 400, which has actually been the name of this race for a number of years, hasn't it, Eric?
Several years now. Yeah, several years.
Nice that there's some continuity with the name of a race. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. At least you get some money, residual money every year to like, what is this race called again? Yeah, it at least
I could save the logo and all that. All right.
That's a change.
All right, so let's get into it. And believe it or not, the favorite of the race at Richmond is a 9-1 driver. So the odds are back up, and we actually think that the odds for the road course, we were talking about this on the recap show, that the odds could actually start going higher there because it was 3-1 Elliott, 4-1 Larson.
Yep.
And last year at this time, the last time they raced at a short track, Larson was a 4-1 favorite. So that just shows you the difference and the fact that the odds are up, which means we can make more money.
Exactly. That's all you want. And oddly enough, the two guys that they have as the favorites at 9-1, I didn't touch. I didn't want to touch them at those odds. That just did not make any sense. So the money's to be made right now in NASCAR. And I'm actually pulling up last year's right now. Okay. So last year, the favorite was 4-1 for this race.
Yes. Oh, okay. So that must have been it. Okay.
I went to this exact race last year. Martin Truex Jr. 4-1. Kyle Larson was 10-1 and Elliott 8-1, and now they've got them both at 9-1 as the favorites. Where last year they were 1, 2, 3, 4. Elliott was tied for 5th, and Larson was tied for 7th best odds, and right now they've got him tied for 1st. And I don't think anything changed for me to want to make them as much, which helps the odds for our favor to win more money. So it's just, can you pick the right driver below them?
Especially with all the parity that's out there. It's just a lot of parity. Again, there's good and bad to parity. The good is if you hit the driver, you're going to make more money. The bad is there's so much parity that it's hard to pick the right driver each week. So,
and there's no rhyme or reason for the right driver to win each week. Other than, I would say Chastain last week, just because how hot he was and the road course was more wide open.
Bowman did.
Larson, Fontana. Bowman shouldn't.
And he almost did.
Briscoe. Yeah. And Byron, again, I still go back to Atlanta. He had no career top 5 finishes on that track. He struggles usually on super speedways. So you got nothing to go off of in the past. You even want to pick him, and he wins Atlanta.
CJ picked him.
And CJ, I still to this day no idea why you would. That would no way at 12-1 why I picked him. He had no business winning that race. And he got Briscoe at 51, no business winning Phoenix, and Bowman 18-1 in Vegas, no business winning that one. Cindric 28-1 Daytona, no business winning that one. But they all did. So there's been no rhyme or reason for these winners so far this year, which helps and hurts. So you just got to find the guy that's like, I don't know why. Like, I'm looking at Blaney this week at 14-1. There'd be no reason
because CJ picked him again.
He did, and I talked literally to Blaney last year going into the playoff race at Richmond, and he told me this 2 years in a row. This is my worst track. I just look to get a top 15 there. I don't even think I'm going to win. I just look to get by. And you look at his finishes: 28th, 39th, 36th, 18th, 22nd, 19th, 25th, 17th, 19th, 11th,
and the 11th and 10th is the last year.
Yeah, and this guy's going to probably go out.
Probably will.
Like at 14-1, I'm like, I'm not touching that. He told me. He literally out of his mouth said, "This is not my best track. This is probably my worst track." Watch him go out and win.
Well, that's the thing is that we don't know again whether or not drivers like for instance, like Martin Truex Jr., who we've all picked, and even Christopher Bell, who we've all picked, have excellent track records at this racetrack. We have no idea if that is all of a sudden going to change. And they're going to be like, oh, why did they do this? Because Truex, look at Truex's numbers. In his first 21 races at Richmond, he led 48 laps. In his last 10 races, he's led over 1,100 laps. He led over 100 laps in 7 of his last 10 races. And he has 6 straight top 5s with a runner-up and 3 wins.
Yeah, you get him for 10-1.
And you can get him for 10-1, yeah.
And he's got 3 top 8s in his last 4 weeks on the season. So it's not like you're getting a guy that's
True.
like, oh man, like Denny Hamlin, who doesn't even have a top 10 all season. It's like you're getting a guy that has been around, and you get him for 10-1.
Yeah,
like,
he should be the favorite of the race. He should be the favorite.
He should. And this is one of my burning questions: is if he should be the favorite. 11 of his first 19 wins in NASCAR were on 1.5 mile tracks. We used to call him a 1.5 mile king, but he's won 11 races since then. 8 of them have been on short tracks. 8 of his last 11 wins were on tracks 1 mile in length or shorter, and 3 of those last 8 came right here at Richmond.
And now we'll find out if any of that changes.
Yep, and he's 10-1. I just feel like it's if I don't pick him, he's going to go out and dominate. Like, dude, you had to pick 10-1. Yeah. Why'd you not take him? So,
well, you actually have him as your top pick. I mean, he's the one that you've invested the most money on, and you're trying to get actually the biggest payback too.
And you got to look. This is my preview coming up this week. This is what you'd call a get right race. You hear in stick and ball sports a get right game. Like, oh, that you match up just so well with that team. You've been maybe on a couple game losing streak. You need a get right game. This is a get right race for Gibbs. I mean, they've won 8 of the last 12 in Richmond overall. The only problem is they're 0 for 6 to start the 22 season. They haven't won in 12 races going back to last year. They've only got 3 wins in the last 24. So my only pause was, can you just flip the switch that easy? Can you just – this is our get-right race. But I also looked at the season. It's not like they've been bad cars. They're 0 for 6, but it's not – I mean, look, Christopher Bell had his steering column that was going out. Power steering went out. He finished third. He rebounded to finish third in his qualifying pace for someone like Bell. I mean, he's got 4 of his last 5 weeks. He started in the top 7 qualifying. So it's like, okay, or I'm sorry, 3 of the last 4 weeks. They're qualifying good. Hamlin's been qualifying good. It's just mistakes that they're making. Well, now you're to a track that's a short track. There's not a lot of room to make a lot of mistakes. They've qualified really well this season. So I expect them to qualify really well, which means those odds are going to drop probably going in. If they're like, oh, these guys are kind of quick in that little practice session and they qualified good, and they were good here last year and the year before. So can they flip the switch? I feel like they can, just because they've shown speed this year. It's not like they've been off. It's not like you look and see them finishing in the 20s because they've been running in the 20s all day. No, they've been running in the top 10. It just seems to be mistakes. So this could be the get right race for him, and you get them all for 10-1 or worse odds. So why not?
And you better get your bets in too on some of these drivers before qualifying, because I mean, just look at last week. Remember, Suarez was 100-1 when we were talking last week, and he gets on the front row, and his odds went down to I think 25-1.
25-1.
So
lost basically 75.
Yeah, not that he won.
100-1 to 25.
But if he didn't have a flat tire, he would have been there at the end.
He could have. Yeah, his teammate won, so we know what he's capable of. So, yeah, you could have had – look, it would have been another 25-1 guy. Yeah. But, yeah, he started off at 100-1. And so I worry for this week that you're looking at Kyle and Truex at 10-1, Hamlin's at 12-1, and Bell's 14-1. If all 4 of them, let's say they have a good practice session – and they qualify good too right after, I don't think you're going to see that. I bet they get moved to the favorite. Don't expect them to stay there long. So you're going to want to jump on these guys early, because as you get closer to the race, they could drop the 5-6-1. Just could be. Elliott and Larson could go back. Qualifying's key.
So CJ and I, the only one to put money on either of the 2 favorites. We both put money on Elliott. My reasoning is because he's been pretty decent there in his career over Xfinity and Cup. He does have 4 top 5s in his last 8 with a runner-up. He has 4 top 5s in 4 Xfinity races with a couple of runner-ups and a win. He was 4th last September. He led 58 laps. And again, we've talked a lot about how Chase eventually is going to have to win something other than a road course race every once in a while. And the fact that he didn't win a road course race and didn't look good at all, really, compared to what he's capable of, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this is good for Chase, because he is sitting there in first place because he has been relatively consistent. Yep. So I'm willing to roll the dice on one of those 2 and picking Elliott to be that guy. that maybe this is Chase's turn, because we know Hendrick still is performing pretty well. So
yeah, out of the two, definitely with him. I just didn't trust the. I mean, you're getting a good number on him for 9-1. I mean, he's got 2 top 5s his last 3, but he's also got 3 of his last 5 12th or worse. So it's like, which one do you get? And I just don't. I still feel like something's missing with him. He's not leading a lot of laps. He's not dominating. He's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Could he be? And I feel like that's how he's been at Richmond. He's just kind of been there. It's like, oh, there's Chase at the top 5 again. So I feel like you add them all up, he's just kind of going to be there on Sunday. And top 5, probably, he's a good fantasy play, but I just didn't trust it. And Larson, he hasn't had a top 5 in Richmond since he won. And that was the fall race, like in 2017 or something. He's
only led 8 laps in his last 6 races there.
Yeah, and you go look at, he's kind of reeling right now. I mean, his finishes are just his last 3 finishes are 34th, 30th, and 29th. He just needs a good day. And this isn't a track that he's had a good days on. That if he could just put together a solid top 10 to get his season back going again, I think it's just what he needs. So I didn't trust them where I really do the Gibbs guys. So I punted the Hendrick and received the Gibbs, and I'm going to run with it. But I did that earlier in the year, and it bit me too. So,
by the way, which track, if any track, do you think is the most similar? Because you can just go, all right, well, you got a couple of other short tracks like Bristol and Martinsville, but this is a flat track, and there are some similarities then to Phoenix. And we've only seen Phoenix this year so far. So can we take a little bit of what we've seen at Phoenix to this race?
I think so, for the fact that this race begins during the day. It used to be a night race, and it's back during the day for a second straight year. And Phoenix was during the day. They're similarly shaped. Phoenix a little bit bigger. I think you're going to see Phoenix translate over to this.
Okay.
Now, however, Phoenix was one race. Teams are back east. They've learned you can maybe make some adjustments. But if you remember right, Hendrick didn't really look great for Phoenix back in the spring race a few weeks ago. Gibbs kind of did. Hamlin was running second before a speeding penalty. Kyle got spun, was running in the top 5. That they didn't look terrible.
Kyle's getting spun every week.
It seems like, he just needs a clean race. He's another guy that needs a clean race. But a key stat that I have for this week is Richmond, all 4 Championship 4 drivers of last year were in the top 6 of the fall, and half were in the top 5 in the spring race at Richmond. So Phoenix correlated over. In 2020, 3 of the 4 Championship 4 drivers were in the top 5 of the fall race. Granted, that's the only race of 2020 at Richmond. 2019, the Championship 4 guys went 1, 4, 5, 8 in the spring race. And then in the spring of 2018, they were 1, 4, 5, 14. So Phoenix has proven the same similar trend. So I feel like a lot from that is going to translate over. So I think this could be another Championship 4 preview. And if you see Chastain and Briscoe and Reddick up front like they were in Phoenix here again, I think might be on to something. Maybe those guys are legit anyways, because they were good in Phoenix, if you remember right.
And by the way, Truex finished 35th in Phoenix.
Yep.
So
I think he had an issue. Didn't he have he wrecked, I think. In Phoenix.
Yeah, he had to have had an issue, yeah.
Something happened to him. Sure. But so he didn't finish the whole race, where I don't know, that could be a hindrance. Maybe they didn't learn enough because he didn't finish the race to translate over. But we'll see.
And then you have Kyle at 10-1 and Hamlin at 12-1, who are a couple of veteran drivers with some really good, again, just almost like Truex, where they've had some great history here. How is it going to affect them now? Kyle, 11 top 10s in his last 12, 3 runner-ups and 2 wins during that stretch. He has 6 wins total, finished in the top 10 both races last year. And then Hamlin, 10 top 10s in his last 12, 8 of those top 5s, 2 runner-ups and a win. Runner-up in both races last year while leading a combined 404 laps at this track last year. But again, you got the combination of the fact that we've got a new car and both drivers. Kyle's doing better than Hamlin, but again, something's happening to him every race.
Yep.
That he goes from being potential contender for a win to being, well, I just didn't get there, and I'm going to finish like last week. I'm going to finish way back because I had a late spin out, or I have an early spin out, and I still was able to get back into the top 10. That's kind of been his season. For Hamlin, he's done nothing.
No.
So I can't. That's why I didn't even touch Hamlin this week or Kyle. I said last week I was going to give him one more week because of the road course. He spun out again. I cannot take Kyle Busch right now. I know both of you guys put money on Kyle, and as far as Hamlin, both you guys also put money on Hamlin. So you guys are going back with Truex, Hamlin, and Kyle, but I'm just going with Truex.
Yeah, I feel like this is, for them, this is going to say a lot about their season because of how good they've been. If they struggle out again this week, then okay, there is something. This is the panic button. It's the only reason I don't put that in my burning questions is I can't keep putting every week because it's the panic button time for Gibbs. It's just I've already talked about it so much.
Yeah.
It's either I think this is it, just of how good.
So much for CJ thinking that it would have been like the West Coast, right? That's what he thought.
Yeah, it
could still be, I guess. But
yeah, it's just
this could be the change. This could be it.
Yep. And Hamlin, he's made a lot of. There's been a lot of bad luck and mistakes on his end too. That he's had a better car.
You mean like the missed shift?
The missed shift again. He admitted that was my fault. And then Atlanta,
damn right it was.
He was pushing him and Larson were running towards the top 5, coming to that stage break, and you just shouldn't have been pushing there. And they wrecked. So you got that. And you got Phoenix. He was literally running second. He was speeding on pit road. Again, self-inflicted. So he's had fast cars. Well, he's always had fast cars. I mean, 3 of his last 4 finishes in Richmond are the top 3. He swept both stages and both races at Richmond last year. So, yeah, I want to see something out of him. I want to see – you can't come out of here with another finish outside the top 20. No. You just absolutely can't. You're digging too much of a hole. And on the flip side, you're seeing too much parity with different winners that – you're going to get to a point, as odd as this sounds, you're going to get to a must-win point. It's weird to talk about 6 weeks in, but, I mean, you just can't keep riding outside the top 20 in points and think when eventually you're going to turn it on. You can't keep saying, oh, we've got it. It's like, okay, well, you need to turn it on at some point because you're going to be too much in a hole. So, yeah, at 12-1, again, this is where these betting odds go. The guy that's led 207 laps, swept both stages in the spring, and led 197 laps and swept both stages in the fall. He finished second of both. You're getting him for 12-1, and this is kind of his home track. I'm gonna take him, but I'm probably like you were on Kyle. This is why I'm on Hamlin and Kyle this week. If you don't show up this week, I'm not gonna buy India next week in Martinsville because it's another short track. So I need to see something, and if you don't have it now, it's going to start getting too late. If we get another first-time winner of the season, it's going to start. That'd be 7.
Remember, we said it the last few years is that it doesn't matter how you start the season, how you end the season. But,
exactly.
With this new car, the way things are going, I don't know if we can still have that philosophy. Maybe we can, but we just don't know. So it's a mystery. But we'll see. Okay, so Byron 11-1. Nobody touched him. That's not a surprise. He's never led a lap there.
No.
Chastain,
no top 5.
Chastain and Reddick are also 12-1. You put some money on Chastain, and you and CJ put money on Reddick. The only reason I stayed away from both drivers, even though Reddick finished 3rd at Phoenix, and Chastain's coming off the win, is because Chastain's coming off the win, and I just can't think he's going to do 2 straight. And Reddick, he doesn't have a great history at the track overall yet.
No.
And so I just, at 12-1, I just can't take him at that spot without enough good results. And by the way, Chastain, even though he's been okay in the Xfinity Series lately, when he ended his run there at this track, he's never really done anything here except 7th in his last attempt in September.
Yep, and then you got to remember that car was pretty good with Ganassi, and now it's a Trackhouse car. So I'm just going to keep riding the hot hand while he's hot. He's got 4 straight top 3s, 3 straight top 2s. We don't know what we're going to get. He was good in Phoenix, so for 12-1, I'll throw some money his way. Not looking to break the bank with him by any stretch of the imagination, but get a little bit of profit. And with Reddick, I almost didn't take him, but again, kind of a hot hand, and I look at the trends. Half the races run this year were first-time winners. They've never won a Cup before. We're 3 for We're 3-3 basically. 3 wins, 3 losses. He's never won a race. It's like the next guy is him.
That's right.
And this season's been so unpredictable that you know what? I was like, screw it. I'm going to go his way. Plus, his teammate's been really good, and I just ran out of money, or I would have taken Austin Dillon. But Austin Dillon, out of his last 6 Richmond starts, 4 of them are in the top 11, or 5 of them are in the top 11. 3 of them are in the top 6. So I'm like, okay, he's got a good teammate to lean off of. He's been in the hunt. He was good at Phoenix. He was good last week. Yeah, I'm going to roll the dice at 12-1. I would like him to be more 18, 16-1. But I feel like the next first-time winner is probably him. And with how things are going, why not have a season? Hey, I'm rooting for him just because it'd be kind of funny if you're going to look 7 weeks into the season and have a Briscoe, Cindric, Chastain, and Reddick all with wins, all with playoff spots.
That's crazy.
That puts more pressure on the bigger teams again. So why not? But, 12-1 was a little steep, but we'll try it out.
Blaney 13-1, and as we mentioned, CJ's the only crazy guy to go with Blaney since he's never led a lap in 11 races at Richmond. But he was 4th at Phoenix, and as we said, his results last year at this track were his best results. So if anybody's going to pull a William Byron this season, it could be Ryan Blaney at Richmond because he's second in points, and he should be first because he should have a couple of wins. So,
did you see his pit crew had another issue again in this last stop last week? So,
did they really?
Yep. He entered 5th, 4th, something like that. Lost a few spots coming up the last pit stop. So I'm like, what does this guy need to do to not? That's why I don't trust him. I don't trust him on this track, and I don't trust his pit crew. There was absolutely nothing about. I know I say you could translate from Phoenix over. There's nothing I trust about Ryan Blaney for this week. Just like you said, he's never led a lap. He's 13-1. If he was 18 or 20-1, I might give him a little bit of make my money back, I bet. But not 13-1. No top 5s never led a lap, and his pit crew can't get out of their own way.
And it's a short track, so if your pit crew screws up this week, you're done.
You are, and you
don't have a chance.
I feel wasn't it Vegas when this whole thing started? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 straight weeks. His pit crew has lost him spots and crucial times on pit road.
He's by a wide margin. There's got to be stats out there for who's lost the most spots. It's got to be him. He's by a wide margin. So it's not even close.
It's not even close.
No.
And Elliott's too. His pit crew's been messing up with him on the last stop, so they've got to fight back. Like you said, this is a short track. You mess up, you're not just losing a couple. You're going way to the back end. It's short. You're not making.
You're going to be down 2 or 3 laps. Yep. You're done.
So I don't trust him at that. There's just no way I could fathom taking him this week.
Now, Christopher Bell, this is again the other driver that we all put money on. Why not? He's got 2 top 5s in 3 Cup races, and he's got 3 wins in 5 Xfinity races while leading 457 laps. So he has just been dominant at this track. And at 14-1, see, that's okay. See, Reddick's 12-1 and does not have this history that Bell has, which is why, I mean, to me, you have to take Christopher Bell this week. Have to.
You do. I mean, last year.
And take him before qualifying, because if he qualifies well, I bet you he gets close to being one of the co-favorites.
He does, because you look at his qualifying stats since his pole: 1st, 4th, 27th. I'm not sure what happened in Atlanta. I was covering IndyCar that weekend. And 7th. So 3 of his last 4 qualifying, he was in the top 4 rows. He finished 4th and 3rd in this race, in this track last year. He crossed the finish line in Atlanta 2nd, and the only reason he didn't finish there is because they penalized him, which I feel like is an unfair penalty to take you from 2nd to the end of the lead lap. So he was running he just went below the line. So you got to remember, he was running 3rd. He went below the line. So worst case scenario, if he doesn't make the move, he finishes 3rd in Atlanta. He finishes 3rd last week. He was 3rd in this race in the last fall. So it's probably a top 3 driver, and you get him for 14-1. Why not, again, this craziness of the season? Yeah, Christopher Bell, I think, would be another surprise, a little bit of a surprise winner. He's going to take another spot.
Not a marquee name. Yeah.
No, for 14-1.
The only thing is he finished 26th at Phoenix. I'm not sure why.
I can't remember what happened. I think something happened to him that day, too. But I feel, again, Gibbs cars, they learned something from Phoenix, have the resources to apply it to improve at a track they've been good at. So Yeah, I would for 14-1. It just baffles my mind still that him and Blaney aren't at least flip flops. Why is Blaney 13-1
Yeah.
over him at 14-1? So out of
Name
the two,
recognition. Yeah.
it is just
But
go
that'll
all in on
change when the gamblers put their money on the drivers. Then
exactly.
they don't care about name
Especially
recognition. Yeah.
they don't. No, they just care about stats, and that's what's going to end up happening.
Okay, now the three drivers at 18-1, you didn't touch any of them. Bowman, Briscoe, and Harvick. I took Bowman and Harvick, and CJ took Briscoe. Briscoe doesn't have much going at this racetrack, which is why I stood away. But he's, again, one of these drivers that we wouldn't be shocked if he's won because of how well he's been racing lately. For me, Bowman's the defending champ. He had a good, almost stole the race last week. And he's been pretty decent at this track in his last 3 trips after not having a top 10 in his first 8. And he's getting 18-1. I don't understand why Bowman is at 18-1. He should be 12-1. And then Harvick, he's another one of these guys that should have put in there with Hamlin and Kyle and Truex. He has a very good history here. 15 top 5s and 3 wins. He was 6th at Phoenix. And we talked a little bit about this. We were going over our fantasy trade on the other show. That I just feel that Kevin Harvick, because the team is better now this year than last year, so that's going to help him out. I know he hasn't led laps or anything like that, but I just have a little bit of a better feeling because he's hanging in there, unlike say Hamlin. He's kind of hanging in there that I could see that he's going to get better as the seasons get, because he's a veteran. He's going to figure it out and get better. Now, whether or not that happens this week or not, I don't know, but he is getting 18-1.
He is. I'd say out of the 3, oddly enough, because Briscoe won Phoenix, you put him in there, but I don't see Briscoe being the first guy to win multiple races in this season. I just don't see that happening. Bowman, he is running better. Like you said, he won this race last year. So you get the guy that won last year and the guy that won Phoenix in this grouping. But Harvick, he's a solid fantasy play. He seems to always be in the top 10. What is it? 2, 4, 6 of his last 7, he's been in the top 10 at Richmond. He's good at Phoenix. Remember, he restarted 2nd. He just didn't have a good restart in Phoenix at the end. So if he could get that fixed, I think out of that grouping, you're getting him for 18-1. He's just not won at Richmond lately. It's just that's the only out of those 3 I would say probably Harvick, Bowman, Briscoe is how I'd rank him though.
Yeah, he has because the season's been 2013.
Yeah, the season's just been so unpredictable. I wouldn't be shocked to see Harvick finally get the win. But one of the top stats, and I wrote about this on my site yesterday, or posted yesterday. The last 12 races have been won by drivers under 30. So does Harvick.
Dating back to last year.
Got to go back. Yeah.
Awesome.
And Harvick has got, he's on a 49 race winless streak. So does that end? Good. Or does it go to 50? But
his odds are going up.
They are.
18-1 and 25-1 on the futures.
Yeah. Who would have thought ago, the guy that made all those championship 4s would be 25-1 to win a championship. And when it's not, this season has been so unpredictable, I'm shocked his numbers keep rising. It's like, you're literally giving a guy that I had that here too. Kevin Harvick went to the championship 4 in 6 of 7 years, or 5 and 6 years. And just the last 2, he didn't do it. And you're getting him at 25-1 in an unpredictable season. Just to me, just doesn't make any sense to do that with him. But
that's why I put money on him the last 2 weeks on the futures. Like a 25-1. That's just crazy. So, all right. Then at 25-1 and 30-1, you put money on Suarez and Almirola. I just put money on Suarez so now Suarez is getting respectable numbers after what he did last week. And he was 9th at Phoenix. And he has 3 top 10s in 9 trips. So this is a good track for him overall. Even though, keep in mind, he's never led a lap here in both the Xfinity Series or the Cup Series. So there's that. Almirola, meanwhile, this is a good track for him. He has 7 top 10s and 2 top 5s over his career, including 3 top 10s in the last 6.
Yeah, and Almirola, he's cooled off. But, again, this is his get-right track. He's been good at Richmond. He's usually good at Phoenix. He won New Hampshire, another track. Not so much close to translate over, but they do have some stats that can correlate. You get him at 30-1. So I'm like, why not? 30-1, seen crazier things. And hey, another crazy name that could take his playoff spot. And like you said with Suarez, he's finally getting respect. Him or Reddick are probably your next first-time winners. I feel like Reddick a little bit more, but look, Suarez, he was coming in. He was fourth in Fontana. He was fourth in Atlanta. He was ninth in Phoenix. And then last week, led all the laps in the first stage. If it wasn't for that spin, he's probably going to be in the top 5 again. He was second in practice and second in qualifying. The speed's there. So you're giving him at 25-1. It's like kind of, to me, no brainer. It's him or Reddick are so close that I could see one of them winning this week just to keep this odd. They're both under.
Go with the trends.
Go with the trends.
40-1. Now, AJ, we know what AJ does at road courses, but this isn't a road course. So forget about AJ this week. Cindric was 28th last year here in his only cup run, and he was pretty decent in the Xfinity Series. Never won, but still he has a bunch of top 5s. And then also Austin Dillon. You mentioned Dillon. So, and then at 50-1, you got Kurt Busch and Jones. Kurt Busch, 2 wins, 5th at Phoenix, but no top 10s in the last 7 at Richmond. Jones, only 1 top 10, no laps in the Cup Series, 3 top 5s in 4 Xfinity Series races. You took Jones at 50-1, and I took Dillon at 40-1 because, as you mentioned with Dillon, he's been 11th or better in 5 of his last 6 races with 1 top 5. He led 55 laps in one of the races in 2020, and he has 7 top 10s in 10 Xfinity Series races at Richmond. So a couple of long shots. Why did you go with Jones?
Only because it's been a weird season, and I feel like he's been in the top 10 more than not, and you're getting him for 50-1. Like, well, you could throw $3 his way and make 50. In the end, your profit would be 50. Like, why not? I mean, crazier things have happened, and we've seen that maybe Bowman last year, the pit call at the end, just got around the guys on the pit call and won the race. Maybe Jones tries something. He's been in the front more times than not for 50-1, and figured why not.
When was the last time Petty won?
I want to say it was the 2014 Coke Zero Sugar 400. I don't think they've won since. Almirola.
Okay.
I don't think they've won since then.
7 years, 8 years. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. He's been running well. His finishes aren't really showing it anymore.
No, he has. He's doing better. And this is a crazy season, so maybe he gets a win this season.
Yeah. I'd be nice. That's why I figured of all the flukes, I had him and I know we'll get to him, was Cole Custer. Custer's been running better. Stuart Haas seems to have a pretty good short track package, it seems like, that so far this year, and he's 100-1. So I'm like, out of the crazy stuff that could happen, it's one of those I'm trying to hedge to cover the crazy stuff. So I thought if the crazy stuff happened, Austin Dillon I throw in there, I just ran out of money. Those are your crazy stuff winners that could happen. If it's outside of them, then I don't have no idea why, like a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. or Brad Keselowski, one of those guys would win. If somebody outside of like 25-1 or worse wins, I feel like those are, I kind of rank the guys in my brain. Like, all right, I'm going to throw some money those guys' way. And just that way I cover myself if you get a fluke winner.
Yeah, the last guy I put money on was Keselowski. So he's 70-1. See, a guy like Keselowski shouldn't be 70-1 in this crazy kind of season when he's had over 1,100 laps led on this track, and he's led over 100 laps 4 times, including he led one race years ago. He led 383 laps in that race at this racetrack. So 70-1. I mean, come on. I had to put money on Keselowski.
I almost did, but with all the drama of the penalty, and
hey, he's going to need it.
He's going to need it, and he needs to play within a box that it's like that car is going to be probably the most legal, not illegal, the most legal car to go through there. That I don't know how much they're trying to push, and everybody's pushing issues in NASCAR to push to get an advantage. They clearly can't. So
it's a short track, so maybe you know how he can be aggressive.
He's going to have to use his bumper. But again, 70-1, he's like you said, it's a short track. You can qualify good. If he qualifies good, like Suarez last week, that number is probably
going to half. Yeah,
exactly. I was going to say 25-1 again. It's probably what you're going to get out of him. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to throw a couple bucks his way right now.
Okay, next week is Martinsville.
Next week's Martinsville. Yep.
And then what's after? When do we get the night race? Is it after that?
The Martinsville's the night race.
Oh, the Martinsville race is the night race. Okay.
Saturday night. It's Saturday night race. Yep.
All right. And what is the second Richmond race the night race?
Used to be, but now they moved it out of the playoffs and it's a day race, 2-day races.
Why?
So I don't know. I have that in my one of my burning questions is this the end?
Why do they think it's better racing in the daytime?
Usually, yes, because the track's slicker. You can move around, creates more lanes. Because the night race is natural grip. It just kind of
we haven't had a night race really with the new car yet.
Exactly. So
that's next week.
Martinsville. Yep.
Yeah.
But my fear is now, not fear because I could care less. If Richmond's got two of the same race, basically it's two of the same race. It's not even a playoff race. You got one early in spring and one in late summer. Both during the day. Both Sunday afternoons. We've seen the schedule get changed a lot. Is that race one of those about to get axed? Because do you really need two dates of two similar races? Because we've seen tracks lose dates. Do we really need the same race at the same track twice?
Yeah, it doesn't make. I don't know.
Poconos lost a date like that. New Hampshire's lost a date like that. I'm wondering if you add races
Poconos
to the
lost
schedule.
A date?
They're just one weekend now. One race, one weekend. Yep.
Oh, really?
You don't go there twice. Yeah, which.
Yay!
that race feels like it's
watch with the new car now it'll be like the best race.
It's gonna be the most race. And it's not even a double header anymore. We just get one
race. Good.
The suffering is over. You got one race, but I feel like the only difference would be NASCAR owns Richmond. Are they gonna take a date away from a track they own? But maybe they own the track that's gonna take its place. So I just don't. This to me would ring alarm bells for those in the Richmond area of maybe they're only going to come here once because I feel like you got to differentiate between the two races. You don't need two of the same, especially when everything's changing up these days.
Well, just have a good race on Sunday.
If you get a bumping and banging, you might get but especially when the second race got moved out of it, it's not even a playoff race. It just was it's what significance does it have in a random August Sunday afternoon spot on the schedule?
Good question. Hopefully they'll change that back to a night race at some point.
Yep. So
unless they get rid of it altogether, like you said.
Yep. That's my first question: is the daytime the right time? And the second one is does Richmond deserve 2 dates? And then other one I've got a big one on is has racing completely changed since 2017? Denny Hamlin brought up some good points of how the racing era, we're kind of in a new era of racing. So got that. Truex. So I've got some burning questions coming out Friday with.
And again, check that out at racereviewonline.net. And we will be back again next week. Our first show will be to recap what happened in this race. And then we'll be back again next week as well to preview Martinsville. So, Eric, appreciate it. Enjoy the race because they've been awesome.
They have. Keep it going.
Yep. Fingers crossed. See you next week.
All right. See ya.